The gleaming storefront of Carlton Jewelers radiated an aura of exclusivity, a shimmering beacon amidst the bustling downtown streets. Inside, pristine display cases showcased watches that seemed to tick with the pulse of opulence itself. Among the well-dressed patrons, a man in a simple jacket and worn-out shoes shuffled hesitantly through the door. His dark glasses and white cane marked him as blind, a stark contrast to the store's glitzy clientele. "Can I help you?" asked Sarah, the manager, her tone tinged with suspicion rather than hospitality. She couldn't help but glance at his scuffed shoes and unkempt hair. "I'm looking for a watch," the man replied calmly, his fingers tightening on the cane as though sensing her unease. Her practiced smile faltered. "Our pieces are quite expensive. Perhaps you'd be more comfortable elsewhere." A low murmur rose among the other customers, some casting amused glances in his direction. The man paused, his expression unreadable. Then, with quiet resolve, he said, "I'm not here to browse. I'm here to buy." The tension thickened as Sarah hesitated. What could a blind man possibly want with a luxury watch? The man's name was Tom Rivers, a piano tuner with a remarkable talent for perfect pitch. Once a rising star in the music industry, his world darkened literally after an accident left him blind at 28. The life he had envisioned, filled with concerts and accolades, crumbled overnight. Tom's blindness became both his greatest challenge and his defining strength. Forced to adapt, he honed his auditory skills to a near-superhuman level. He could identify a note's frequency with unerring precision, a gift that kept him afloat as a freelance piano tuner. Though his earnings were modest, Tom's reputation as a master craftsman grew among the city's elite musicians. Yet, behind the professional facade lay a man who longed for dignity and connection. Simple tasks like navigating crowded streets or handling financial transactions came with humiliating assumptions. Too often, he was dismissed before he could prove his worth. Today, he had saved enough to purchase something meaningful, a luxury watch he could feel rather than see. To him, it was more than an accessory. It was a symbol of perseverance and independence. But stepping into Carlton Jewelers was a leap of faith, one that would test not only his patience, but the humanity of those around him. Sarah sighed, the strain of her skepticism evident. "Do you have a specific model in mind?" she asked, her tone barely masking her doubt. "Yes," Tom replied, producing a neatly folded piece of paper. "The Omega Speedmaster Professional." Sarah blinked, momentarily taken aback. That was one of their most expensive pieces. "You're aware it costs over $12,000? "I am." She exchanged glances with an associate who smirked but said nothing. Reluctantly, Sarah retrieved the watch, handling it as though its mere proximity to Tom would diminish its value. Placing it on the counter, she said, "Here it is. Are you sure this is what you're looking for?" Tom reached out, his fingers brushing the watch's smooth edges. A faint smile touched his lips as he traced its contours, appreciating the craftsmanship. "It's perfect." Before he could proceed, a loud voice interrupted. "Is this a joke?" A sharply dressed man, another customer, laughed derisively. "What's a blind man going to do with a luxury watch?" The room fell silent, the tension palpable. Tom's grip on his cane tightened, but his voice remained steady. "It's not about what I can see. It's about what I can feel. This watch represents something to me that you wouldn't understand." Sarah hesitated, her professional demeanor crumbling under the weight of the unfolding scene. "Sir, we'll need proof of payment before proceeding any further." Tom nodded, reaching into his pocket and producing a bank statement. Sarah scanned it, her eyes widening as the numbers confirmed his financial capability. The customer's smirk disappeared, replaced by an awkward silence. But the damage was done. The judgment had already been passed, leaving Tom feeling exposed. He wanted to leave, but something deeper held him back, a need to reclaim his dignity in the face of prejudice. As Sarah reluctantly processed the transaction, an elderly gentleman entered the store, dressed in a modest suit. He carried an air of quiet authority. Recognizing him instantly, Sarah straightened up. This was Mr. Langston, the store's owner. "What's going on here?" Langston asked, his sharp eyes scanning the room. Sarah hesitated. "This gentleman is purchasing a watch," she said, her voice strained. Langston's gaze shifted to Tom. "The Speedmaster?" "Yes," Tom replied. "Is there a problem?" Langston's expression softened. "Not at all. May I ask what drew you to this model?" Tom explained, his voice steady. "The design is iconic. Its textured face and precise build are things I can appreciate without needing sight. To me, it's a reminder of resilience, a masterpiece I can carry with me." Langston nodded thoughtfully. "Did you know this watch was worn during the Apollo missions? It's a symbol of overcoming the impossible." Tom smiled faintly. "Exactly." A murmur spread among the staff and customers, many of whom were hearing the story for the first time. Langston turned to Sarah. "Have you been treating this gentleman with the respect he deserves?" Sarah flushed. I may have misjudged the situation." Langston didn't reply immediately. Instead, he addressed Tom directly. "Sir, your story inspires me. I'd like to personally offer you a discount as a token of appreciation." Tom shook his head firmly. "Thank you, but I'll pay the full price. I want to earn this, just as I've earned everything else in my life." The room fell silent again, but this time the air was charged with admiration. Even the skeptical customer seemed humbled by Tom's determination. As the transaction concluded, Langston handed the watch to Tom. "You've reminded us all of something important today. True value isn't always visible." "Thank you." Tom held the watch in his hands, his fingers tracing the fine details. For the first time in a long while, he felt seen, not as a man defined by his disability, but as someone who mattered. The skeptical customer approached, his expression contrite. "I owe you an apology," he said. "I judged you without knowing your story." Tom nodded, accepting the apology with grace. "We all make mistakes. What matters is what we learn from them." As Tom left the store, the watch strapped securely to his wrist, he felt a renewed sense of purpose. It wasn't just a luxury item. It was a symbol of his journey, a reminder that dignity and perseverance could shine through even the darkest moments. Inside the store, Langston turned to Sarah. "Let this be a lesson for all of us. Never underestimate someone based on appearances." Sarah nodded, visibly moved. From that day on, Carlton Jewelers became known not just for its fine merchandise, but for the respect and humanity it showed its customers. Tom's story spread, inspiring many to rethink their assumptions and celebrate resilience in all its forms. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Let's spread the message of kindness and resilience to as many people as possible. Join us for more inspiring stories that remind us of the power of compassion and the strength of the human spirit. See you in the next video.